from the private sector and your reflections in terms of green finance, private sector's role and the constraints.
Thank you very much. I think a couple of speakers earlier spoke a very important point, saying that ambition and vision is good. But in Africa, we are moving too much ahead of ambition and the vision compared to the ground reality, what is happening. Very impactful statement. Point number two, I as an agri-professional, a food industry professional for more than 3 decades, two personalities impacted me a lot, my thinking, my behavior. Number one, Mahatma Gandhi. His book, My Experiment with Truth. He writes that production by masses is fine, but what we need is mass production is fine, but what we need is a production by masses. This sentence is so relevant in today's world. Point number two. Point number three, one economist, Michael Schumacher, wrote a book when I was studying a master's in entomology. He said, small is beautiful. Now, I said, while as a CEO of Advanta, I need to do what I need to do, but also there's a lot of passion. What is that I can make an impact at a farmer level? So I came across one project. I got a phone call from New York Fund saying that we learned about one success story you created in Africa on Instagram. Was it? He said, access to seed and what you are doing is amazing. From my perspective, I just gave a small resources to the few the passionate team member in Africa. I said, this is a budget, your delivery. Beyond that, a small budget for passion project. You do whatever you feel like doing it. And they participated in this access to seed project, and what they created was amazing thing, micro story, but they picked up by one of the biggest fund manager in New York. They called up my boss. He said, we want to talk to your management and who they created the story. I said, this is our routine thing. And from New York, I got a call, and they say, you know what, we did a lot of research. Then I learned about them, that they have money and they have carved out of money, probably we indicated 4% of it. It said, we have impact fund. But we don't understand the language you people are using it. But this story made us understand your language. And therefore, we are keen to invest in your company. Can we invest in presentation? Such a small thing, a miracle happened. My boss said, we don't need money. We are a 7 billion cash profitable company and all, but they are after us, let's go there. And we engaged for 8 months, due diligence and all. They decided to buy 25% of my company, called Advanta. And today, Advanta is the most valuable seed company listed entities in the world. Now, and therefore, how do we mainstream green financing, right, towards the strategy of climate change and the food security? Now I will go to the bigger point. And the entire story is incorporated in this sustainable report, UPL Advanta report. Besides financial report, our team decided to create a UPL Advanta Sustainability Impact Report. This second year, we are the only company we are doing it because we believe we are answerable to all the stakeholders and not only investors. Now I'll go to a bigger point. When I studied, and I was a scientist, moved to the corporate world from a science technology, I moved to marketing and now heading a company. My learning has been following. Industrial evolution was really fascinating human success story, whereby we started with the 3 Ps. What are the 3 Ps? Focus on the profit. Capital will go where the profit is coming. That will be creating the product and the services which will be servicing the people. So capital is going towards the profit, prime goal, very clear, measurable, metrics developed. How being generated? Is being generated by offering services and the product to the people. And third is, that was a kind of a lip service, planet. All right? Nice to have it, right? But time has come to change the paradigm. What is that? Talk about planet first, followed by people, and followed by profit. Now, good thing is, world's top 3-4 funds have invested in our group. Norwegian fund, the biggest. US fund, the biggest. UAE, Saudi Arabia. All the 3 have invested in our company. And I realized, I think some speaker, political the excellency, talked about very nicely, have a universal language. As a practitioner of a corporate world, I find the dictionaries The people in the investment decision maker world, I call it technosphere. They live in the glass house with the lovely laptops and every variable is predictable and measurable, called world of technosphere. And world of nature sphere. People in agriculture, they live in a world of nature sphere. Here, most factors are under their control. Here, no factors are under their control. And both the worlds have different languages. And I realized that me and my team have now got a success formula. We started understanding this language, started understanding this language. You know, and that is creating magic, right? With the last point, I'll close it. Tanzania is a country, amazing country. I love this country. I came in 4 years ago, and I said, what are the import bill of Tanzania? Foreign exchange is a tough. My colleague was saying that yesterday, go to ATM and you can't get more than $500. Very easy solution. And I'm not saying as a theoretician, as a practitioner. Arusha, about 80-kilometer village in Arusha, I studied that Tanzania has about 1 million hectares sunflower. And Tanzania is importing sunflower oil. There cannot be a crime bigger than this. I talked to my team, how can we change the game? We started with the entire study of what the crop profile is. We realized that the Tanzanian sunflower farmers are using the seed which was used by grandfather and father, right? No change. What we can do? Change it. Globally, Advanta is a company having the topmost position in sunflower hybridization. A Tanzanian farmer is producing between 400 to 500 kilogram per hectare seed. We have the varieties we can produce between 3.5 to 5 ton per hectare. Here there are varieties which has a oil content, 30-35%. We have varieties which has a 38 to 50%. I said, let's change the game. We are the first company who introduced hybrid sunflower on the continent of Africa. And what it has done, we just covered only 40,000 hectares in last 3 years. In that, we generated $50 million to the GDP of that few farmers. That's what we have done. This micro picture. All stories are given here. Those who are interested can go into detail. Paucity of time, I'm not expanding how we have done that. Now what we are going to do, we are working out 1 million hectare. How can we convert, whereby productivity can go up from 500 kilo to nearly 1 ton to begin with, going up to 2 metric ton. What are the outcome of it? Tanzania can be self-sustaining themselves for the oil. Also, they can be export edible oil to surrounding country. All the possibilities. A day before yesterday, we met the agriculture minister here. Very dynamic, very young. They shared with us agriculture tech transformation authority. They are creating office. And they guided us that you complete your vision statement, what you intend to do in 10 years in sunflower, submit to us, and we'll partner. So this is a success story which we have. Just to summarize it, I think it's important to have common language between the world of I have a meeting next week in London. They are going to come down there. Now, I have to tell all the success story of my people in the language they understand. And ticket item. They are not interested in $5-10 million. They want to take a big decisions. And they are looking forward to have initial success stories where they can bet on last challenge which we have. And I think it's a learning process for us. How do you report? Because you are so sharp on the numbers, numerical financial reporting. But how do you report, let's say, the carbon footprint of growing sunflower seed into Tanzania? I have no idea. I have no knowledge. So what we are doing is we went to Arusha University. There are a couple of professors. We are talking to them. I said, please help us, right? Narrate our story. We are not a very good storyteller, which I can communicate to the people who understand only numbers, right? So in other words, we are in the process of finalizing the carbon footprint of sunflower in Tanzania versus what they are doing it. So it's all learning process, and it's an amazing journey for all of us. And I thought it would be quite relevant for. Last but not the least, if you want to mainstream green finance for the betterment of the food security and climate challenge, I think this next meeting has to have rearranged the agenda whereby this session is on day one and not day last. And I'll close my comment.
Thank you. Lots of great information there, and commitment and passion. It all comes through. I want to go back to you, sir, and you talked about and make it very specific to your intervention earlier. You talked about the fact that the risk perception of the sector is very high. Returns are questionable, and therefore private finance moves in other directions that are more tangible. In other words, the linear model, you know what transformation means. I think you have a very powerful point, and I put that challenge to all of us. Whereas we know what energy transformation means, I don't think we know exactly what food transformation means, So your point that the narrative needs to be understood by both sides. It can't be some kind of a high global, up there kind of pie in the sky. And I don't think we are concrete enough in this transformation agenda. What are the three things we are transforming to, and concretely what they mean? So I put that challenge across to all of us. But more importantly, I absolutely get your point in terms of if you take the sector as a monolith. Ideas we've been debating about or thinking about is to not think of agriculture and food as a sector, but to take certain themes, and I like to focus on mitigation here. For example, rice, livestock, food loss and waste. These three are 70% of emissions in the food sector today. What are your thoughts about creating thematic platforms that cut across geographies and have a very big bottom line and can be very attractive to the private finance, but also really bring public finance in terms of the de-risking?
Thank you. And I love it. You're getting into the heart of the matter because, in order to start moving systems,